I know. And I used to think like, wow, I had so much time on my hands. I used to, sometimes you even get that notification about like, oh, look at your memories. And sometimes they're not the best of memories you want to look at, but they're there, right? And that's how I guess I've been documenting my life, and so many people are doing the same way as well. Yeah.
Welcome to In Sync, a podcast about the lives we all want to really live and figuring out how to get there. Hi everyone, welcome back to In Sync. I'm so excited to have you here for today's episode because our guest today is such an all-rounder and I can't wait for you guys to meet her. She is a multimedia artist, content creator, and designer who is also passionate about giving back to society. Inzer Mubashar, or Inzagram as many of you may know her, is not only the founder of Studio IM, where she specializes in brand design and identity, but also helps in fundraising for her father's organization, Ehsan Kadam, a charity organization aimed at fighting hunger and water scarcity. Inzer, we are so excited to have you here with us today and talk about everything design and art and why your passion makes you do what you do.
Thank you so much, Anmol. I'm so excited for today's episode. I think that it's going to be a lovely conversation. Just talking about how we can incorporate just little small things in our lives for our well-beings, our mental health, because this is such a fast-paced society, and it's always nice to slow down sometimes.
I completely agree. And that was the motivation behind this podcast because life has gotten so fast recently that I kept thinking, what would I do if I slowed down? And we all always think about that, don't we? We all think about our motivations, or we want to take some time to really rework or rethink why we're doing what we're doing. And that's actually why the first thing that I wanted to ask you is, what makes you get out of bed in the morning?
Oh, so that changes time to time, but this year I really started to focus on my health because the nature of my job and what I do is mostly being stationary, whether it's being in front of a computer or making content on my phone. I don't get a lot of movement, but this year I really saw the benefits of just either working out, going for a walk, moving my body, just movement in general. So I've gotten into the habit of it. So every morning I try to get some sort of an exercise in, and that actually just helps me set the intention for the day, and I feel energized for the day. So that's a good habit that I've picked up on this year. Yeah.
That sounds very healthy. I'm very inspired that you do that because I have been thinking about doing that for so long and I still haven't. So who knows, this might be my motivation to finally do it as well.
Trust me, I was like you all these years till obviously COVID was a big factor. We were all at home, and then I mostly worked from home as well. My full-time job was hybrid. And then when I go make content, that's also at home, and I'm not really getting much in. But then I took this year and it took time to realize like what I like to do. I mean, I don't particularly like going to the gym as such, but going for a walk, getting a yoga class or something of that sort in the morning, because I get very lazy in the evening. Then I'm not able to go anywhere. But getting it out of the way in the morning definitely helps.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I love that you've been able to set that for yourself. And actually, even coming to your work as an artist, I'm sure that there's a lot going on. You're doing so much, you're studying again, you have your own studio, and I know you share a lot of content on your own as well on your page. But in such a fast-paced world, do you think at the same time your art helps you slow down or carve out some time for yourself and focus on your well-being?
Yeah, so I started freelancing right after graduation back in 2020. Obviously, COVID hit, and everybody was at home, and I just got to work literally the next day, and I have been doing that ever since. Beach May, I moved to the US. I started full-time jobs and whatnot. So for a very long time, actually, I was in the grind. I was just working. And this year, when I went back to school, that was the decision that I took for myself, was that I want to take a step back and start creating things for myself. Because the last time I did that was when I was in college, when I was in NCA. And then ever since that, I was just taking projects and they were client based. So I was making things for the clients and not necessarily for myself. And it was exciting. It was very fun. You get money from it. It's you just get into it, right? But then and then you also don't realize that it sucks you in. And that's why I wanted to go back to school and started to explore things, because I knew there was so much more that I still had to discover or had to explore about myself. And that's what I'm doing actually. I know school and assignments feel stressful, but they actually are the opposite for me. I enjoy them. I'm being my most creative self there. I'm being true to myself and the art that I have. So yeah, I guess that's one way to look at it. Yeah.
I mean, first of all, I just think it's so interesting that I found someone else who likes school and assignments, because I recently did this short course and everyone was like, why are you doing this to yourself again? And I was like, you don't understand. Like, I love being a student. I'm good at it. I think it's the only thing I'm good at.
I tell people that also because my school is not your traditional school, right? It's an art school. So you don't have like a lot of reading and writing, which I run away from, by the way. Like, you cannot make me sit down and read something. I run away from it. But because my school is, I'm doing my master's in illustration, and I did my bachelor's in graphic design. So in illustration, it's very hands-on. You're working with so many mediums. You're working for so many projects, like which I didn't know that is possible. Like if you're illustrating for a book cover or you're illustrating for a magazine, like what kind of language you need to go with and what kind of style you need to go with. It's just so interesting. Sorry, I'm geeking out about it, but yeah, I've been really enjoying it.
Oh no, this podcast is a safe space to geek out about everything. That was my main goal with this. Like, we all get to geek out. So, do your thing. But
That's
one thing that I found really interesting about your content, and actually is I think what drew me to the content that you share on your page as well on Instagram, is that your social media is very artistic, which is something that's very different from perhaps a lot of the influencers, people would follow. I don't know if you call yourself that. But I remember you mentioned that social media is another medium of your art for you. And I'd really love to know what that means.
Well, thank you so much. Firstly, I honestly, my Instagram started off as a digital journal for myself. I started it back when I was in college. And I necessarily did not intend to become like an influencer as such. And I still don't call myself that because I do not feel that I'm in those same parameters, you could say, but still I treat it as my digital journal. And if you go way back in my page, you'll see how the page has evolved over time, because I have evolved over time. I have had different interests. I have had different aesthetics or different things that I've been into in different phases of my life, and that is what I feel is a reflection of my Instagram as well. And I'm not like necessarily like chasing the same things other people are, which is completely fine. I mean, everybody has different priorities, right? But yes, I do consider my like Instagram as an extension of my art practice, because I am a painter. I like to draw. I'm a photographer. I also like to create content. I also like to journal things. I like to document them, and that has been very big part of my personality, even way before Instagram was there in existence, right? Like, I actually got a camera before I got a phone. Like, believe it or not, like I did not get my first like cell phone until I don't know, I was like 16 or something. But I had a camera at the age of 10, and that's what I love doing. I was taking pictures. I was just documenting everything, and then I am that kind of person who would upload all the albums on Facebook after like an event, and all your friends are going to be like, acha, like pictures kidhar hain? So I would be the one having all the pictures and stuff. So I feel that it was very important for me to just be very authentic, and I guess that is how I stay authentic on Instagram, is just being an extension of myself.
I mean, as a side note, Facebook albums were such a vibe when that one person who I was you in your group would upload like 60 pictures with like emojis, make sure they tag everyone.
I know. And I used to think like, wow, I had so much time on my hands. I used to and it wasn't even like, okay, a birthday or anything like that. No, I would randomly take my camera to school and just take a bunch of pictures, and we went to hotspot after that, or we went to Hardee's after that. And I've taken pictures of everything and I've uploaded it for everybody to see. Obviously they're all on like private now, but yeah, it's a see, that is also a digital journal, right? Because the kind of the age that we live in, we don't have those albums or anything like that where our parents would show us this. The digital age is the way we capture our memories, right? And sometimes you even get that notification about like, oh, look at your memories, and sometimes they're not the best of memories you want to look at, but they're there, right? And that's how I guess I've been documenting my life, and so many people are doing the same way as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we can't deny the impact that social media has had on us, right? And I remember when I moved to uni, I wanted to create Instagram as a digital diary as well. And I was like, I'm going to document what I'm doing. And it got to a point where I think this was when like influencers were coming up and the algorithm was changing, and all of a sudden
Right.
everything was becoming really aesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
And so that really scared me. And I just deleted everything, and I was like, wait, I can't, this is something that I can't keep up with anymore. And I realized like what I wanted to do, I just wanted to like keep track of what I was doing or share like little bits and pieces. And I think that's happened to a lot of people around me, where a lot of people have started getting put off from social media because they see it as very surface level. But then there's people like you who are really making the most of it. So how would you encourage others to go beyond that surface level aspect, or what we call, Instagram is so superficial and it's all about like the pretty pictures? What's your take on that?
So firstly, thanks again for that comment. Instagram, I'll be honest, is superficial, right? It's very manufactured. It's like it's equal to sending someone a very pretty text instead of calling them, right? You don't know it is, and it's gotten so hard to separate the real from the art, like the fake or the superficial, because and it's a scary space. I'm not going to lie. There was a time where I actually closed my Instagram for 3 months, and I deleted the app from my phone, and I stepped away from all of it because it did get very, very overwhelming. And because as someone who shares space with so many talented creators out there, it's very common to have that feeling of comparison, like when you're thinking and you're looking at other people's work and they're creating such great stuff and they're creating it constantly. That is the place where I guess people find the pressure, is because they're just like churning out such great content with with an incredible speed, when it gets really, really hard to keep up. And social media, I would say, is a great way to, if you can filter it that way, it's a great way for you to get information, get your information out there. And then once you've done that give and take, you are able to step away from it and use that information. For example, I think about it as an artist, right? Like, you're putting out your work out there, and you're networking with people in a professional way. You're making a portfolio for yourself, but setting that intention that, oh, okay, if you're not going to grow your page or whatnot, that's also fine. Okay, there's so many people who are on the same path, right? I feel that social media, for me, when I got back, I had to reevaluate how I look at social media. When I did not want it to have power over me, I still wanted to keep my power over social media. So there are expectations that once you get into the algorithm and once everything like that, you're expected to start churning out content. You're expected to keep on doing everything, and it's just becomes a rat race. And because, like I said, it is an extension of my art practice, I did not want it to become like a job. I did not want it to become like a task for me. I wanted it to still have that element where I find joy in creating content. I find joy in connecting with people and making them laugh, maybe, or inspiring them with my art practice. So it's easier said than done, I will tell you, to go beyond the superficial aspect of social media. And I think everybody will take their own time to realize that. But I feel that it is something that eventually I can already see that there is a decline to all of this. Like, it's on a downward hill. Like, the newer generation now are not on Instagram. They're on like different other platforms if they want to communicate with their friends and whatnot. They are like social media. They are not on Instagram. They're doing other things. So you can already see the influencer and all that stuff was a specific time and a specific generation, but the newer ones, they don't care about it. So I think it's eventually going to fade, maybe. Let's see.
Yeah, I think you're right. There's definitely been a shift, especially in demands from, I guess, viewers and audiences in terms of like authenticity and really wanting to see what's happening behind the scenes. Like, I guess that's why reels are also more popular than pictures, right? Because no one just wants to see like a pretty face anymore. But when you're sharing that much, because I know you share stuff about your life as well, and you're sharing a mix of content, are there any boundaries you set for yourself to protect your own well-being?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I have boundaries online and offline, and I think they are just important for everybody to to have a little. And I think the amount of things that I share on my Instagram, they're appropriate for me, but for someone else, it might not be enough, or it might be too little, or it might be too much. But then I also know so many creators out there who are sharing like every hour of every day. Like, the minute they get up, they take their dogs out for a walk, they send their kids to school and whatnot, and they are sharing all of that. And honestly, I commend them for it. It is not an easy thing to share. It is, I mean, if you are a person who has never ever opened up their front camera and talked to your phone and then decided to post it for 1,000 people, it is not an easy job. Try it. It's hard. And there are people who are doing it like every hour of every day, and they know like the kind of content they're supposed to make. For me, I feel that my social media is not about my like personal life as per se, like what is happening. Like, I do share bits and pieces of it, but curating that feed, you could say, is that it's not just going to be me and my husband or my life here, is because so back in 2020 when we got married, right, I think our wedding was one of the last weddings before COVID hit. So our stuff was very much on the internet. Like our videos were everywhere, like whatnot. And then that's how people started discovering our pages as well. And then that's where people started like DMing us and whatnot. And we got an influx of attention which we were not prepared for. And it was very easy for us to just like drift off into it. Like, there were people who wanted to invite us on like radio shows and this and that. And like, I remember there was a magazine in India that featured our wedding, and like it got really crazy, right? And I remember Zara and I had to sit down and really talk this through. I was like, what are we going to do with this? Are we going to go ahead with it, or are we going to live like, or are we going to keep our lives as they are? And we really had to take that step back where we said, no, we're not going to give it all in. And that is our decision, right? Like, it is completely fine if someone wants to do that. Like, that is completely fine, and I respect that. But for us and our lives and the kind of careers we were trying to make, we figured that, okay, maybe right now, like just giving everything all to social media is not the right choice for us. And that's where I think we really had to make that solid foundation so that now, even when we're posting and whatnot, like we still are mindful of that decision that we made. So it's like not just from my side, my husband also has an open profile, so it's from our both ends, like, okay, how much do we want to say? But I will keep sharing my art practice, I will keep sharing things that inspire me and whatnot, and just things that are me, but not necessarily more of what my family is doing. Yeah.
I think it's really cool that you have those boundaries very well set, because I think social media has this tendency to suck people in, and for a lot of people they can get to the point where, like you said, it's all getting overwhelming, and they haven't necessarily decided what their boundaries are yet, especially for a lot of younger people who are getting caught up in the whole content creation thing, and sometimes things just go viral randomly and you don't really realize, okay, I'm going to get this much attention, which is kind of what happened to both of you as well with your wedding.
Yeah, exactly. Because I feel that that was another thing, that when I started my account, I did not intend to be an influencer or a content creator. So that was also another thing. Because if you are starting out and that's your intention, that you are going to be a content creator, or you're going to be a lifestyle creator, or a lifestyle influencer or whatnot, then that fits your narrative. That fits your narrative to be showing everything that you're doing and whatnot, right? But that was me even like on Facebook when Instagram wasn't a thing. Yes, I would share albums and whatnot, but they were for my friends and they weren't for the general public, right? So I felt that if you agree with all of that, and your intention is that to be a little more open about your lifestyle, that is completely fine. And again, I respect that, because that takes a lot of guts to do. I do not have those same guts. I don't think I'm ready to do to share more of, like, my lifestyle, maybe in the future, but at the moment I think I'm pretty comfortable with where I am in terms of how much I want to be how much I want to share. Yeah.
And I think it's really important to have your values set for your own personal well-being, right? And on the topic of values, like I know you started Studio I Am perhaps more recently, I believe, than you created your Instagram page. And so I wanted to know how those values are translating into that work as well. Because in that work, I believe you're dealing with clients. And so there's those demands, and then the demands of sharing on social media. And so there's a lot more going on.
Yeah, so Studio I Am, yes, I created it maybe last year. And that was just it started off to put a face to my practice, because at the moment I was, like I told you, I started freelancing in, like, it's going to be 5 years now. And I started freelancing and I was just, getting clients, working with different people. Some were friends, some were like from word of mouth and whatnot. So when I moved here, I had to like formalize a few things, so because in order to like officially get into that stuff. So Studio I Am, I started off by making it sort of like a portfolio for myself. I'm currently working on my website as well, to start to put my work out there, because initially everything was on Instagram, and then I wanted to separate the two profiles actually. And when I look at the work that I've done in terms of branding and identity, let me just first off say this, that I absolutely love it. I love what I do. Thankfully, alhamdulillah, I get to do something that I'm passionate about. And I realized how much I enjoyed creating logos and branding when I had time to myself, and when we were in COVID, and I had time to work on these things. So I have treated every single logo as if it is like or I've treated every single client as if it is one of the biggest clients in the world or in that industry, right? because when people are starting out their business, that's their baby, right? That's their, like, they put a lot of hard work into it, and they've put a lot of thought into it. And if they need to put a face to the brand, right, they would want someone to like pay that much attention to detail and care into creating something that is that has the ability to grow out, that has the ability to be a little more universal, that has the ability to be like a little more, like it has I'm actually losing words right now in my brain, but it has that ability to grow, right? So I've treated that, because when you pour in that much attention, detail, and care into something, the client sees that. ठीक है, if I do not put in any time and I just send them something, they will also know that as well. So it's starting my practice out was very, very, very important for me to make sure that the client trusts me with their baby, right? And I'm trying to give them something that does justice to all the hard work that they did. And there is a reason why that I have so many people who keep coming back to me, because they want their packaging design now, they want their business cards now, they want to do something else, because I did give them that trust. And I know there are so many other people who are doing the exact same thing, but like building the connection with that person is very, very, and to show them like that, okay, you are authentic, you care, is the reason why they're going to refer you to other people, right? And they're going to tell other people about it. And that's how I've gotten more work done as well. And I guess, yeah, that's how I treat Instagram as well, like just to make sure that I'm authentic, and I make sure that I'm connecting with people. And because I'll do it even if I'm not posting content like 24/7, at least people will know that, okay, yeah, if this is something real, and this is something, it's not going to be every single day, maybe like once in 2 weeks or whatnot, but if it's gonna come out, it's gonna be something real. Yeah,
I love how invested you are in your projects. And I think that's the beauty of art, right? Like there's a part of the artist that's always in there. And I think I have a sort of personal connection with interviewing artists and talking about art, because at one point I also wanted to pursue fine art, and then I realized I couldn't do it as a career, so that went down the drain. But there's that that's always there, that gets really excited when other people talk about art, which is why I'm having such a good time talking to you today.
thank you, Anmol. No, I'm so glad. I think like if you still wanted to do it, I think you should still, if you have time. I know you're so busy running in sync and whatnot, but I think you should definitely give it a try. It's like it's very therapeutic. It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
I think it's more of something that I do as a hobby now. Like I made a wedding gift for my brother, so now it's my like away from work well-being time. Like I'll put on a podcast, or I'll put on some music, and I'll take that time out for myself.
I love it.
So just to give our readers, I'm gonna edit that out, sorry.
You're good.
Just to give our audience something to think about as we end, or something to look forward to from you, what's your favorite project that's coming up recently, or even something that you've done?
So, like I mentioned, I'm in school right now, and I've been experimenting with a bunch of different things, and I've been enjoying it so much. It's actually things that all the illustrations that I've been creating, and I very recently got into doing lino cut. Not sure if you know what lino cut is. It's basically you take these blocks of rubber, and you transfer a design, or you draw on it, and then you carve it out, so it essentially becomes like a stamp of sort, and then you ink it, and then you press it onto paper, you press it onto like different materials, and you can make like multiples of it, and you can experiment with different colors and whatnot. And I tried it for the first time, and I loved it, and I got excited about it so much that I was doing a little small test piece, and I just printed it out on cards, and little cards. And basically, my friends and I here in the US, we all live in different states. So we have this practice of sending cards to each other every month, just to, again, something to step away from social media and like just the digital stuff, and to actually like write a handwritten card and mail it to everyone, so everybody has something to look forward to in their mailboxes every month. So what I did was I just did those designs on the card, and literally inside the card I wrote, "Girls, look what I just made," and that was it. That's all. And I mailed it out to my girls, and it was a fun little keepsake for everybody, and they put it up on their fridge and whatnot. And I'm excited to make some more things regarding that, and under the name of Studio I Am as well. Maybe like again, for people to keep, for people to keep, for people to gift, something like that. So I'm excited to work more around that medium.
I think that is such a perfect thing to leave our listeners with, and I'm so excited to see more lino cut from you. I did see a little bit on your page, and it looked so much fun, and it's so cool that you guys, send each other these things, and it's such a nice thing to remember each other by, like a physical keepsake. And I hope that anyone who's listening, maybe this can inspire one of you to send a physical card to your friends, or take the time out to really do something with your hands, whether that's art, whether that's gardening. Get in touch with yourself, get a group together, do something fun, do something away from your phones, and just have a good time. And Inzer, thank you so much for being here with us today. For anyone who wants to follow more of Inzer's work, we'll be putting her Instagram down in the description below, so you can follow her, see what she's been doing with Studio I Am and with her own page as well. And we're all excited to see lots of fun stuff coming up from you.
Thank you so much, Anmol. This was such a fun conversation that we had, and I didn't even realize that the time has been up. And I think it was really nice talking about my practice, and just telling everybody about my intentions. And it's something that I don't often do, but it felt really nice to talk about it. And I guess that is another thing for everyone listening to do, is really, whatever you create, whatever you make, definitely talk about it. It feels so nice to explain it to people, to tell people, to share it with other people. And so don't stop sharing stuff.
Yeah, I think that's great advice, and I hope to see all of you as well on the next episode, where hopefully we're going to have more interesting things to share with you and lots to look forward to.